Hello everybody. So my name is Lucas and I'm here to try to show you some tricks and to teach you about piano improvisation. Um, just to tell you a bit about myself, I've been playing the piano since about um, 14 years old, really. I've learned it early, then didn't play for a little bit, but I've learned it more in my late teens. But anyway, I've been playing for a while. I'll tell you, I've never been the kind of person who likes to practice exercises and those kind of things. But I really, from the very beginning, I really enjoyed improvising on the piano. So it's something I have a lot of practice in. So just to show you the kind of improvisation you can do. Yeah, so I'd like to tell you some basics. Like I want to give you a guideline. Maybe you're trying to, you already know the piano, but you never got much into the improvisation side of things, and you don't know where to start. Maybe you've tried it a little bit. You want to know how to progress, but so I distilled sort of the kind of things I did that helped me learn and improve on improvisation. I'll tell you, I'm not like the greatest piano player. I cannot play like the super higher pieces or anything. I don't usually even learn many pieces at all. Like I really just enjoy improvising the piano. I do occasionally, but that is my focus. But learning pieces is one of the great ways to learn, to help you improvise. So I'll get to that. But I'd like to break it down into four basic components what you can use to learn improvisation. So, and I have them written down, like these are my notes here. But first of all, your playing patterns. So, what do I mean by that? So this is the kind of stuff you learn, like your piano exercises. Very simple example would be a scale, right? That is like a piano exercise. It's a pattern. Why are patterns important in improvisation? Basically, they build your muscle memory so that you don't really have to think about how to play something. You already know how to play something. You can just use your muscle memory to guide the music where you want to go. That's your objective with improvs. And this is very important, particularly in the accompaniment. So in the left hand, you're going to often play, like the kind of music I play at least, is very homophonic music, so very standard stuff. Right hand plays the melody, left hand plays the harmony, plays the chords, and so on. And when you have like a pattern, like a broken chords, very simple. So that pattern is something that you get used to playing it, and then you don't think about the pattern anymore. You just think about the chords, right? So that's one great thing you can. So once you kind of get used to the pattern, you don't have to worry too much about it, and you can transfer it to many different kinds of chords. And that's one thing. I don't usually practice this kind of patterns. Like it's more like if you learn it once, you can kind of practice them, and you improvise like regularly. You can kind of practice them within your improvs. So because when I'm using this pattern here, of course I'm using other patterns because it's already so intuitive to me, but you can kind of stay with the same pattern and practice that. So that's one aspect, knowing your patterns, and know that you can practice your patterns within your improvs, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Like you're still practicing them. So I'd say the second element that is really going to help you is theory. So, and I don't mean that you have to study loads and loads of theory. Let me explain. When you're learning like a new theory concept, or maybe even theory concepts that you already know, but maybe you don't know how to apply them in practice within improvisation. So you can take the example of knowing like chords. A very simple example, like if you know, yeah, going back to the basics, you know, like you have a chord here, a major chord. You know what is made of. Once you get used to playing, like if you wanna put this into your improvs, you have to practice the chords within the scale, right? You have to practice the chords many times, basically, and try to play them, right? But you have to introduce that theory concept. That's a very simple one, a very basic one, right? But you have to introduce that theory concept within your improvs, and you can slowly do that. So, and you can. I'll explain this a little bit more later on. Maybe we'll do another video, but I'll talk about scales. And one important thing is to learn scales. And like, for example, if you learn one scale, I'll take this example, F major. So that's something in F major, right? And if you get used to playing this scale and just play this scale over and over again, you know the chords by heart, right? Like it's you already know them, and so that's a theory concept, which, because you're using that scale many times in your improv, it becomes ingrained, right? So that's, and this works for modes as well. So like, and you already get used to the sound. That's very important. You get used to the sound. It's not just a concept anymore. Like, you know what it sounds like. So I'll give an example here as well. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do the Dorian mode, but I have to start on minor. Alright, this is not major or minor, this is D Dorian. Okay. How do I know? How can I improvise in D Dorian? I didn't know how to improvise in D Dorian at first. I knew just like the major minors and mostly natural minor, really. I can improvise in D Dorian because I've learned, not only learned D Dorian and kind of forgot about it, but I've learned D Dorian not just in theory but in practice. Like I came to the piano and tried the Dorian, not necessarily D Dorian, but any Dorian. I tried the Dorian scale out and saw how it sounds. But even more importantly, I saw music, and we're going to get to this point next. I listened to music which used the Dorian, and I tried to imitate what they were doing, what the composer was doing, right? I wanted to get that sound, that Dorian sound, into my improvisation. So I got that theory concept and I applied to improvs, and I just tried to experiment until I got the hang of it. That's really the approach you should have here when you're learning. So that's my third element. This leads perfectly into the as a gateway into talking about the third element that I wanted to tell you about. So that's listening, right? So just listening to music, but listening to music with a mind to see, with an objective, like a purpose. The purpose, oh, I want to try to improvise that. I really like that. I want to try to get the same feel and the same style in the piano, right? It doesn't matter if it's not a piano piece. Could be orchestral, anything. You want to get the music you really love. See the kind of things that you don't know how do I accomplish that, right? You don't know how to accomplish maybe a certain passage, and like the idea is not to get, obviously you cannot in an orchestra you cannot do all the instruments that, right? The point is not some kind of transposition. The point is just to get the feel for the piece, the kind of melody that he uses, and the kind of harmony that he uses. And you want to be able to reproduce that in the piano. So you just practice, and this leads onto the last point, which is pre-written music, so composed music. So actually learning music in the piano that has been transposed by others. Obviously, you can also try to transpose them yourself, right? And that's a great thing, right? So you take that music that you really like, and you learn how to play. You play a version of it, right? And this, but you play it thinking. You select the kind of music that will help you improve your improvs, right? That have like new concepts that you have not introduced in your improvisations, and you want to introduce them, right? I really like. I'll say I'm a really big fan of like Japanese music. Like I know there's a lot of people who like Nobuo Uematsu, and I like his work as well. So that's one, and actually he's a big inspiration for my style as well. Like for example, I really like this kind of accompaniment. I don't know if you noticed what the pattern was, but it's this. I'm making mistakes here. I'm not too used to going back, I have to practice. Alright, so I incorporated this into my improvisations so that this particular, so you have a chord here, like C major, the first, the second, the third, you play that, and then you play the fifth. That's Final Fantasy Prelude, right? And it's a pattern. It's one example, like a pattern you learn to play, and you can use it within your improvisations. And like sometimes you just use them without thinking much, right? You learn the places where it's appropriate. So yeah, that's. But yeah, anyway, take some music, and learn it. Select the music that you want to help your improvs, and very important, don't just learn the music. Don't just learn the rhythm piece. Improvise the piece. Change it. And change it while you're learning. Like, you don't have to finish learning the piece. I mean, you can if you want. That's one approach. But the way I like to do it is I learn like a section of the piece, like a part of one section of the piece, and then I improvise. I improvise as I learn, like as I learn each little part, right? Particularly when it's something I don't understand or I'm not used to, like. So you might like to do some, I don't know. That's not what I want to do. I don't know, some quarter harmony or something. I don't usually play quarter harmony, but it's something that I might learn at some point. Alright, you see this happen in the piece for some reason, and then you learn about it, like, and then you try to fit it in different ways, or maybe you can use your own, the things you already know, right? And then you try to make the piece your own in that way. So there are many ways to go about it, but you know, you have a piece that does this, and then you can just like do something like this. You've changed the piece, right? So you've made it like your own version of it, and that's really fun as well. So I'd say that's the basics of the process of doing it. Two things I also want to say is that you want to do it because you want to do it improvisation because you love it. Like you really enjoy playing the piano, and you want that freedom. And also, don't be afraid to experiment. And this is the kind of things. Oh, and of course, one thing I forgot to say: composition. So, if you're interested in composition, it really helps improvisation. Like improvisation helps composition. Composition helps improvisation. So let me. So for example, I was writing a composition for a game jam recently. I'm not like a big composer. Like I haven't composed much. I'm very inexperienced in composition, but but I use like a digital audio workstation, and being able to like think of a tune and play the piano and record it it's a really good thing for composition, like, and having those abilities with improvisation. And also the things you improvise helps you learn musically. I mean, that's the same with other instruments. Like there's like guitar, a lot of guitar. I don't play the guitar, but guitar players will know this. Like, they are much more used to improvising than piano players. They will know that they develop themselves musically as they improvise in the guitar, right? So yeah, I think that's probably already a very long video, and I want to give you more details and go more in depth into improvisation, and like give you like if you're starting out from nothing, like maybe you even know a lot of piano already, but you really want to improvise, and maybe you feel stuck, like you don't want to make a mistake and stuff like that. You're really afraid to improvise. I want to start from the beginning and give you, in my next videos, I want to give you some tips to start improvisation in more detail. So if you're interested in that, if you'd like that, hit the subscribe button, please, and like and share your comments. And I'm glad to be showing this to you. Like, this is my first video doing this, and it's something I've always loved to do. I've always loved to do improv, and I think it's only fitting that I stop talking and do some improvisation a bit longer, if you're in for that. So we'll see. With improvisation, sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad. Like, I don't know. it's weird. Okay, I'm starting. I'll tell you. Just to give like a hint that I'm gonna tell you about in my next videos, but it's good to start with like 1 or 2 scales that you really, like, focus on 1 or 2 scales. One scale that you really like, not that you like, but that I like, is G major. And its relative minor, E minor. Alright, let's try to improvise it. this went all over the place. All right, it's not my best improv, but it's really fun out there. But this is why, like, you can actually combine composition and improv. So you can think of some melody lines. If you want actually to make good improvs, you want to add some structure, and that entails some form of repetition, which means you have to remember what you played before. But this was not the case with improvisation. But this means, like, the way you do this, the same way the composer write music, like they do things like motifs, where you have a pattern. And then you repeat the pattern. So yeah, I think that was enough for this video. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.